Step in here, please. I was admitted by a gorgeous flunky and shown into a sumptuous room where a couple of elderly gentlemen were sitting. They sent away the servant and made me sit down. They had just finished their breakfast, and the sight of the remains of it almost overpowered me. I could hardly keep my wits together in the presence of that food, but I was not asked to sample it. I had to bear my trouble as best I could. Now something had been happening there a little before, which I didn't know anything about until a good many days afterward. But I'll tell you about it now. Those two old brothers had been having a pretty hot argument a couple of days before, and had ended it by agreeing to decide it by a bet, which is the English way of settling everything. You will remember that the Bank of England once issued 2 notes of £1,000,000 each, to be used for a special purpose, connected with some public transaction with a foreign country. For some reason or other, only one of these had been used and cancelled. The other still lay in the vaults of the bank. Well, the brothers, chatting along, happened to get to wondering what might be the fate of a perfectly honest and intelligent stranger who should be turned adrift in London without a friend and with no money but a £1,000,000 banknote, and no way to account for his being in possession of it. Brother A said he would starve to death. Brother B said he wouldn't. Brother A said he couldn't offer it at a bank or anywhere else, because he would be arrested on the spot. So they went on disputing till Brother B said he would bet £20,000 that the man would live 30 days anyway, on that million, and keep out of jail too. Brother A took him up. Brother B went down to the bank and bought that note, just like an Englishman, you see, plucked to the backbone. Then he dictated a letter, which one of his clerks wrote out in a beautiful round hand, and then the 2 brothers sat at the window a whole day watching for the right man to give it to. They saw many honest faces go by that were not intelligent enough, many that were intelligent but not honest enough, many that were both, but the possessors were not poor enough, and if poor enough, were not strangers. There was always a defect, until I came along, but they finally agreed that I filled the bill all around, so they elected me unanimously, and there I was now, waiting to know why I was called in. They began to ask me questions about myself, and pretty soon they had my story. Finally, they told me I would answer their purpose. I said I was sincerely glad, and asked what it was. Then one of them handed me an envelope, and said I would find the explanation inside. I was going to open it, but he said no, take it to my lodgings, and look it over carefully, and not to be hasty or rash. I was puzzled. I wanted to discuss the matter a little further, but they didn't. So I took my leave, feeling hurt and insulted to be made the butt of what was apparently some kind of a practical joke, and yet obliged to put up with it, not being in circumstances to resent affronts from rich and strong folk. I would have picked up the pear now and eaten it before all the world, but it was gone. So I had lost that by this unlucky business, and the thought of it did not soften my feelings towards those men. As soon as I was out of sight of that house, I opened my envelope and saw that it contained money. My opinion of those people changed, I can tell you. I lost not a moment but shoved the note and money into my vest pocket and broke into the nearest cheap eating house. Well, how did I eat? When at last I couldn't hold any more, I took out my money and unfolded it, took one glimpse, and nearly fainted. $5,000,000! Why, it made my head swim. I must have sat there stunned and blinking at that note as much as a minute before I came rightly to myself again. The first thing I noticed then was the landlord. His eye was on that note, and he was petrified. He was worshipping with all his body and soul, but he looked as if he couldn't stir hand or foot. I took my cue in a moment, and I did the only rational thing there was to do. I reached the note towards him and said carelessly, "Give me the change, please." Then he restored to his normal condition, and made 1,000 apologies for not being able to break the bill. But I couldn't get him to touch it. He wanted to look at it, and keep on looking at it. He couldn't seem to get enough of it to quench the thirst of his eye, but he shrank from touching it, as if it had been something too sacred for poor common clay to handle. I said, "I am sorry, but if this is an inconvenience, I must insist. Please change it. I haven't anything else." But he said that.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.